either you get your butt out of here, or I'll have you up in charges so fast you'll be my client's cellmate. You dig?
Welcome to episode 6 of the Cosy Crime Classics Podcast. Petrocelli, The Outsiders.
Can you dig it?
No, I can't. What's he trying to do with the jailhouse jive?
I'm not sure. Obviously showing that he is from the big city and much cooler than these country bumpkins.
He's down with it.
He knows how the youth communicate.
Yeah. That's it, you dig. And so, we got some other questions, I think. How are you anyway?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Have you recovered from your vehicular incident this week?
And was it a T-bone crash I was?
Yeah.
I was not the guilty party, thankfully, but...
No, but badly maimed?
Well...
Not in a way that will affect your podcasting.
No.
You don't need legs to podcast.
Anyway, we got some answers to what we were discussing last week. Yeah, the show is just as silly as it was then.
It seems to be a formula. But I suppose that's what you expect. It's fairly cosy.
It's cosy. No clue about how the law works or how the courtroom works.
We don't care about how the law works. We care about entertainment.
I was entertained again.
It was good. It was good. And I think, again, I don't know how it stacks up against the rest, but it seemed like a good episode relative to the expectations.
And this week, the title was far more appropriate.
Not bread related.
Not bread related, no. We're not having this discussion.
No, we've already had it for 20 minutes off mic. So.
Yeah, nothing evil about it.
Nobody's evil in this episode.
Well, that's what the episode says. I've got issues.
Well, we're a long way away from coming to that, but we will get there.
Okay. Before we do, I had another question, just about the show. When I say a question, more rhetorical, because we could obviously find these things out, and the whole point is we've not watched the initial episode, we've not watched the pilot, but I wonder if it's established why the Petrocellis left Boston. Was it because he was stressed out, he wanted the quieter life? Was he run out of town by a mobster?
Gambling debts?
Something, yeah. Why did he decide to leave?
Who can say? Paternity suit, maybe?
Maybe some sort of malpractice and he had to get out of Dodge or into Dodge.
He lost his licence. He couldn't pass the bar in Massachusetts.
6 times the charm.
That's it.
I'll do another My Cousin Vinny reference this week as well. Before I do that, do you have some socials?
Sure. Seeing it's the season finale, we might as well remind people.
Is it the season finale? Have we decided it's going to be a 6-episode run?
Well, that's what we promised.
Promises are made to be broken.
I think if the release schedule holds up, this should come out on Boxing Day, which makes a reasonable time to... happy Christmas, everyone. A reasonable time to take a pause and come back very quickly with a second run.
Okay.
So, social media, we're on all the usual platforms. We're at Columbo Podcast on most of them. I think the Blue Sky handle's very slightly different from that, but you'll still find us if you search it. We are producing show notes at columbopodcast.com, and not this week because it's the end of the season, but generally you will find next week's episode 1 week ahead of time on our Columbo Podcast Productions YouTube channel, where you can like, subscribe and hit the notification bell, which makes us very happy.
Thank you. Crack on.
In this week's episode, Petrocelli takes on a pro bono case when a young man is charged with murdering a pharmacist. While Tony tries to figure out the truth behind the death, Maggie extends support to the accused's family when it transpires that the deceased was holding up the sale of a number of commercial units for development. It seems Tony might have found his motive. But is there a viable suspect amongst the unhappy locals? Or is there another force at play?
We open on what looks like a typical street in dusty San Remo and are immediately presented with a young man running out from Sloane's pharmacy in a bit of a panic.
He is pursued by a group of locals.
From seemingly nowhere, yes. It looks like a gang of stuntmen, to be fair.
It does, quite a lot. And he is literally caught red-handed by the police.
Yeah, he is, yeah. Young Gump sprints along the main road, finds himself in a piece of wasteland surrounded by cacti. And the gang reach him, but they don't give him a beating. They're not there to lynch him.
Well, the police are very rapidly on the scene, which we learn why later on.
When he is apprehended, he himself and the police and the rest of them look down in horror to see what.
There's blood in his hands, yeah.
Yeah, clearly guilty. It's an open and shut case.
And that's the end of the episode. So, Back at Petrocelli's office, we see Tony showing up as Pete and Maggie discuss horses.
Yes, he arrives at his office above the Navajo trading post stroke Indian village, which I can maybe chat about briefly in the trivia.
Okay.
Where he rants to, yes, his wife and Pete about what?
He's got a $10 parking ticket.
An illegal parking ticket, apparently.
Well, what other kind of parking ticket is there?
No, he
Oh, he
says...
says the ticket's illegal?
Yes, it should not have been issued.
I thought you meant he was ticketed for illegal parking.
No. He claims, this sounds unlikely, that he put money in for an hour and only got, expired after 45. I don't think so.
Prove it.
A malfunctioning meter, is that what you're saying? Is that your defence?
Yes, that's weak. But then he might just tell the court that that's what happened and they'll just accept it.
Yes. Here's a theory. Flashback to him putting the money in. They have a laugh at his expense, and as Pete exits, we see a worried-looking elderly woman enter, looking for some help.
Her name is Lucille.
And explains that someone from legal aid advised her to come and see him about helping her son who has been accused of killing a man. She raises her chin, looks him in the eye and assures him that he could never harm anyone. And Tony invites her to sit down and explain.
I got a level with you right up front, Mr. Petra.
That's Petrocelli.
We ain't got no money. None. So if you say you can't help us, I'll understand. But I just got to get help. They got Ron in jail, and I know he's scared.
Look, let's worry about the money later, huh? Oh, by the way, this is my wife, Maggie. And you can call me Tony, okay, Mrs. Fields?
But if you'll call me Lucille. You see, nobody ever called me Miss Fields. Sounds a bit fancy.
Who did they say your son Ron killed?
A man that owns a drugstore, Mr. Sloan.
Do you know him?
Never heard of him till last night. You see, we don't know no one here. My husband and children, we're just passing through on our way to Lee's Point. We're croppers. Pick crops according to the season. Our truck broke down outside of town. My husband's not well, so Ron went into town to get some medicine. He found a drugstore, and now they're saying he killed a man that owned it.
How old is your son?
Well, Ron's 20, but he's lots older in many ways, and he's smart, smarter than all of us. Mr. Petrocelli, there's two things in this world I'm sure of. There's always something in tomorrow to look forward to. And my boy would and could harm no one.
As you might expect, that is sufficient to persuade Tony of Ron's innocence.
Yes, and as the proud old woman asks if he will help, he tells her he'll certainly give it a try.
We then get into a macabre story about her babies dying.
She had 7 kids, five of whom are still around, yeah?
She's going to bring this up later on to make someone feel bad about themselves.
And as she's speaking, Tony looks at her with some sort of admiration and asks how she got to his office. She tells him that she walked.
It doesn't say where from, though, so we don't know if that's impressive or not.
Round the corner. Of course, I walked.
I was at the court and then I walked up here, yeah.
5 minutes. So he tells Maggie to drive her home while he goes to see her son Ron.
But before they lock up, Maggie dashes back in for 2 fistfuls of sweeties.
Candies. And all 3 leave together.
Why does he have a jar of sweets on his desk?
People do that, yeah.
It's like a dentist.
Oh, that's just a thing. Some people do, yeah. Offices, maybe not so much these days, but you would have that.
Would you?
Yeah.
Lawyers?
Yeah, I think so. Don't think it's that unusual or that crazy. He drops everything I noticed here. It's like a lawyer these days, if you went into him, but okay, I might take your case,
I'll
but
give you an appointment for tomorrow. Yeah.
Potentially, yeah.
But to be fair, if the trial's starting tomorrow.
Yeah, well, that's it, isn't it? So, Tony meets with the worried Ron at the jail in the sheriff department where he shows his tougher side while dealing with a job's worth guard, as we heard.
We did, and he digs it.
I quite liked his stealing. This is the first time we've seen him be really quite aggressive.
Yeah. He's standing up for his client and his rights.
Ron shows that he is a good kid by asking firstly how his mother is and doesn't understand why Tony is helping him as he is skint. Absolutely zero money.
Very confused.
Until Tony explains that he's entitled to a defence and asks him to give his version of the event.
Yeah. I like the fact that Tony, I think it was in the conversation with Lucille earlier, mentioned that we'll discuss money later, as if, I'll keep this over you just in case I decide to issue an invoice, but we'll proceed for now.
Yeah.
We hear Ron's backstory.
Yeah, this is where the flashback of the week starts.
Yeah. They pull up in San Remo because Ron's father's not very well and their truck is also not very well.
Okay, so give us a bit of background.
They've both got a cough.
They're absolutely on the breadline here. They've got nothing. They're about as poor as you can be.
They're a bit like the characters in Of Mice and Men. They're just going from field to field, picking crops.
Picking melons, going wherever the next the harvest is, helping out. It's a horrible existence.
I'm sure it is.
Especially in that heat. I'm looking at it going, no.
It's okay because they do seem at least miserable.
And their truck itself, it's all tied up with bits of string and stuff, and it's like the monsters.
They're laying it on quite thick, aren't they?
And it breaks down, but they manage to get to a local mechanic.
Yes, he offers to help and says while he does so, they can camp out on the verge of the highway across the road from his
it's just
garage.
Yes. It's on the hard shoulder.
These days they've been moved on pretty rapid.
Full of old cactus and rocks and stuff.
Yeah, I'll pitch up here. What could go wrong?
Yeah, so I think he says he can do something maybe for the $30 they can afford, and that's it. But he's not too sure. Anyway,
Ron's dad is dying, but won't take medicine because it's too sweet.
Yeah, so he's got a persistent cough, and he's worried about his teeth.
Presumably, I thought he just doesn't like sweet things.
Yeah, more of a savoury man myself.
Can I get that with gravy?
So, Ron hitches a ride into town to get his cough medicine. That doesn't help lung cancer, I'm sorry.
No, and his mother warns him not to get them making it up too sweet for the... You don't get to choose the flavour of your cough syrup, surely. Anyway, we see Ron arrive in town and go into the same pharmacy we saw him running out of at the top of the show.
Yeah, he finds no one there. The shop's empty, so he moves to the back where it's a bit darker.
Yeah, and spontaneously falls on his face.
He does, yes.
It's not very plausible that this is his... And not only that does he falls and his hand lands on the murder weapon, covering it in blood.
Yes.
So he then sees the blood in his hand, which surprises him again in 5 minutes when he gets caught at the end of running, and turns around to find a dead body in front of him.
At which point he runs out into the street.
Yes, and is quickly chased down as we saw earlier.
Back in the jail, back in present time, he insists to Tony that was what happened and he needs to get out to help his ma, and that his father is dying, which they all know but don't talk about. They've got no money.
Nope.
Zero money.
Nope.
Can't afford a room, can't afford anything.
That's it.
And they're wasting money on cough medicine that they know is not going to help.
Yeah, and they've also put all the last of their money into this mechanic.
Yes.
Tony tells Ron not to speak to anybody about this, so Ron immediately shuts up and refuses to say anything to Tony.
No, I think before that he asks why he's helping, and Tony says there's two reasons.
Yes, he's a lawyer.
No, there are two other reasons. He knows what it's like to be poor, and as you...
Is this hinting at something we've heard before? I don't know.
I think that's part of the backstory.
I think he's backstory that he was poor and then became a lawyer out of poverty.
Well, I'm not sure how emphasised that is. I think the point is that he wasn't, Ivy League. He wasn't privileged.
Blue collar.
Yes, he's worked his way up. I don't think as poor as this, but from the streets of Boston, normal guy.
That's probably why he says things like "you dig."
Of course, he's entitled to.
Yeah,
he's not appropriating any other language.
No,
he is street.
He is from the streets. That's it. So anyway, as I say, he tells Ron not to speak to anybody. So Ron assumes he includes himself and doesn't speak. But Tony clears up that it's okay to speak to your lawyer.
Yeah. Also, there's a third reason. He's getting paid through legal aid. It's his job.
Well, he's not going to tell them that until he's hung over the cost of the case, until he realises they've definitely got no money.
Tony leaves the cell and on his way out has a bit of banter with another prisoner before stopping to talk with the
Ponce.
Unfortunately named Burly Lieutenant Ponce.
Yep, he ponces over.
Who, much like Prosecutor Daly, doesn't think he is much of a defence considering the facts.
So these guys know Tony and they know he always wins every case, and yet they always think they've got him.
Well, how long has he been in town for?
Well, this is episode 18 at least.
Yeah, that's true. He's had 18 cases you might...
And he was 3-0 up on Daly before he had that other case.
Yeah, but you see this in shows all the time, including Columbo, where the boss shouts at him, "You've got 24 more..." So what do you mean 24 hours? Every single case.
Yeah, I've solved them all.
Yeah, I'm a super cop. Don't put me under pressure or leave and I'll go somewhere else and your crime rates will skyrocket.
Tony is told by Ponce that the evidence stacks up against Ron. There's fingerprints on the scissors, but Tony says it's okay, he's not guilty, I'm convinced. which Ponce basically laughs at.
Yeah.
As you would.
He also presents him with some other pertinent information that Tony hadn't even thought to ask about.
This happens quite a lot to Tony.
Ron was found with no money, and he suggests that he was going to steal and ended up murdering Sloane when he got caught.
Yeah, which is plausible.
Very, very plausible, yes.
In fact, probably quite likely from what we've heard.
Yeah, I think Tony should be saying, I'm not getting involved in this one.
You would think, but he's already been sweet-talked by Lucille, so he is fully invested.
And after revealing this, Ponce leaves with a smugly satisfied grin on his face.
We head over to the campsite where the family has had some bad news.
What's that?
The car cannot be fixed for $50, little one. So we discussed this earlier between us. Your view is that the $50 figure just is a high figure, and it's the mechanic can't fix it at all.
Well, yeah, but I don't think that was the best example. He should have said, I can't fix it even for like $1,000 or $1 million.
Yeah.
So I can't fix it for
So it's not the case that it's going to cost another $30. It's the case that he can't fix it.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Well, maybe not, because you see later on it can be fixed.
He just can't do it.
Yeah, doesn't want to. Not get involved. He just looks at it and goes, this thing's falling to bits.
Not worth my time.
Mechanics do that. People get in there and there's problems with their car and they say, just look at this. And then when they're looking at that, by the way, this needs change, this is falling a bit. If I touch this, and now I'm liable for it, it's an absolute heap. I'm not getting involved.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're introduced to the family.
The brood. We're not very... we don't hear a lot about them. We see them very briefly.
There's 3 younger kids, younger than Ron. And obviously, Calvin, the dying husband.
Is he dying, though? Have they just assumed that he's dying because he's had a cough for a while?
Do you think he's a bit like Grandpa Joe from Willy Wonka?
Yeah, he's dying and then suddenly he's fine.
Yeah, it's like, I can't...
I think that's exactly what happens in this episode.
Yeah, I don't want to... he's like out Bart picking melons in the heat. Oh, I'm really ill.
I'll be dead soon.
So Maggie hands out the candy to the delighted desert urchins before Lucille gives Calvin his medicine.
Where'd that come from?
Oh, Tony, just stop off here, will you?
Pick up some medicine?
Yeah.
From the dead guy's pharmacy?
Actually, I see a point. If she had money to buy it, she sent Ron off to get it.
I assume she didn't have money to buy it. I assume maybe Maggie's bought it for them. But it's not really covered in the episode.
Anyway, seeing the dire straits that they are in, Maggie invites them to have her Texas ribs for dinner, and they agree, providing they can help. And this is the first time we see this. It's, try to choose the correct words here, it's patronising.
Yeah.
The way they look, it's almost like not virtue signalling. That's not the right term, but they, I think, are maybe getting more out of it. They're like, oh, look at us helping these really poor people.
Yeah.
Oh, aren't we good? What's the term I'm looking for? There's a word for that, but
self-serving.
Maybe, yeah. Anyhow,
we get a really saccharine scene after Maggie leaves, or exchange after Maggie leaves, when Lucille and her husband discuss the fact that Maggie is married to a fine man and a smart one as well.
Yeah. Smart.
Not smart for being a lawyer, smart for marrying Maggie. Yes.
Yeah. Back in the jail, Tony's not happy with Ron.
Ron's lying to him.
Yes, for not telling him about his lack of cash when he entered the store.
And his first excuse is not plausible either.
What was that?
He says he was going to work it off.
How you going to work off? I mean, these days, what's a cough medicine for £5?
Yeah, I'll sweep this corner of your store.
It's not how
you
it
give me a
works.
cough bottle.
Yes. He's very agitated.
Yeah. When Tony presses him, he comes up with a different excuse. He says he was going to beg, which Tony thinks is really convincing and will definitely win him his freedom.
I don't think it is. I think it's a terrible answer.
It is.
You've got no money. The guy's ended up dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good guilty.
Yeah. And they kind of, as well, in this scene, I'm pretty sure they were trying to build up the suggestion he was going to say, I was going to steal it. And then he says, I was going to beg. Okay.
Tony arrives back at his office where Pete is drinking beer and reading the paper with his feet up on Tony's desk.
You want to spill my beer? No. I might want your help. Okay, you got it. Shoot. It's the Fields case. I want you to start digging. The dead man's name is Andrew Sloan. I'll talk to the widow. I want you to find everything there is to know about the guy, who he liked, who he didn't like.
Or maybe who didn't like him?
Yeah, maybe. Also, check out his personal affairs, financial or whatever. Next, check out his sales and prescription records. I'm sure they've been impounded.
Is there anything else?
See if anybody knows anything, even slightly off-center, about either the man or the store. And find out about what time the store usually closes. And see if you can find out if anybody went in or out of the store around closing time.
Anything else?
Yeah, Pete. I want to help that kid. I'll see you later, Tony.
Do you know what, Anthony J. Petrocelli?
Uh-huh.
What's uh-huh?
You know what's uh-huh.
Tell me.
Repeat the question, Your Honor.
Do you know what, Anthony J. Petrocelli?
Yeah. You love me.
We're having Texas-style barbecued ribs tonight.
Texas-style ribs tonight.
I invited the Fields over for dinner.
Oh, that's nice of you.
You know what?
What?
I love you.
In saying that, they live in a trailer themselves.
Yes,
oh, one step away from their
place, yeah.
monsters truck on the side of the road.
Do you think she's overselling this whole, "Oh, I love you, Tony" thing? It's like, well, do you mean?
Yeah, we said that last week, that they are very...
She certainly does seem to be turned on by his Mrs. Havisham act.
Yes. Tony heads to Sloan's, where he uses his existing parking ticket to try and avoid paying for a new one.
Sly dog.
That won't work though.
Sure, it's got a date written on it.
Of course.
Or so a different street.
Everyone can just try that. The meter maids
Well, you see
won't
that as
fall
well,
for
these
it.
cars that have been left and they've got 8 tickets on them, or hundreds sometimes in extreme cases.
Of course, yeah, because you have to look when the first thing you do is look, has that expired?
Yeah. I think it's the fine that he got, though. It's not just a ticket he's bought.
Right.
It's these parking fine, because they don't have tickets to put in your car. They've got meters. Anyway, Tony speaks to Sloane's widow, who's initially understandably cautious, given that he says he's representing the accused killer.
Mrs. Sloane has obviously decided that the murder of her husband the previous day is no reason to close up shop. Like I asked, this is the same situation as last week. Did she do it? Victim's wife in this show seemed quite casual about the death of her husband.
Well, she's moved on, obviously.
Why did you get the shop open?
You get 24 hours to be sad, and then it's on to the next one.
Husband murdered, shop open at 9 o'clock.
Well, I mean, she explains that she's quite happy that he's dead, because now she can sell the store. It was his store. He was too nice to people. And she gives what I've written here in my notes is, she gives a boring backstory about their story.
Okay, so initially she doesn't want to talk to him or any lawyers, especially like the man defending the accused, but he works his charm and she offers him a drink. And as she prepares this, she does open up about her husband and describes him as what?
Nice.
No, stubborn and foolish, but also kind.
Yep.
And that was what killed him. The kindness.
The stubbornness and the foolishness.
I think so, yeah. Actually, it was a pair of scissors. I think you'll find.
Yep, if you look into this.
Tony should have said it. I have the evidence.
However, she thinks he had no enemies or adversaries that she could name because he was kind. And also, it wasn't worth being kind because, look, he's ended up with bugger all.
Yeah, I think she talks about how they had this dream about opening a store, but the neighbourhood's went downhill recently. They're scraping a living together, but he could not raise prices or try and make his own life better because he was so generous and kind, and he gave things away and he gave his time, medicine, etc.
In the 24 hours since he's died, she has sold the shop.
Yes, my point of it. Yes, I'm thinking, who's putting an offer in? Who thinks it's appropriate?
We'll find out who's putting the offer.
Yeah, but even them, like, you don't...
I don't think it's I think it's been sitting on the table from what we learned.
Yes,
and she's just agreed to it. Although I wonder if someone gave her a call. It's like, oh, I hear that Andrew's dead. You want to keep that store?
Also, I would be thinking to myself, if you were the company, she's handed that back in the day after her husband died. That's suspicious because they're just looking to.
Yeah.
Because I thought what would transpire was that the company had, employed thugs, goons to pressurise.
Yeah.
It's not they're just putting an offer in and they're trying to, regenerate the area, which it looks very run down and could be doing with. They're the good guys.
Yeah, well. At this point, an outraged Tony essentially tells her that her husband will be rolling in his grave.
How does he? He's never met. Has heard one story about
from her.
And now he's saying what a bad wife.
Yes, from what you've said just now, your husband would be furious. Who the heck are you to be coming in here telling me what my husband would think about what I'm doing in my store?
Yes, get out.
Which he does, and heads to a barbecue.
Yeah, it's underway, and in fairness, it looks great. A little bit like Poker Face. Remember they had their barbecue episode?
Yes. Talk of Poker Face, the new Knives Out movie, really good.
Yeah.
Worth going to see. Or watching on Netflix if you are a Netflixer.
The barbecue apparently smells great too.
I'm sure it does. It looks like it will.
I'm hungry, if not my dinner. Calvin thanks Tony for the hospitality and then asks about Ron and is told that he is fine. That's like... He says he's fine and sends his regards to everyone. That's not you don't say that when you're in jail for murder to your family.
Here's a postcard.
He sent in my best regards. Signed it.
If you see my mum, just say to her.
Yeah, it's a weird turn of phrase.
It really is. Pete follows Tony into the trailer to tell him about something that I think maybe should have been made more of in the episode.
Yes. Pete's chilling with a beer, eating ribs.
Yeah.
And whilst Tony arrives back and has a little chat, you should be trying to get him on the phone. Obviously, no mobiles in those days, but as soon as you should be waiting for him to arrive. As soon as he steps out of his truck, come here, I've got something to say. Yeah, so what is it?
What he has to say is that Sloane has a ledger of people he's been supplying cocaine and morphine to.
Yeah. That might have something to do.
As you do, you know. Tony thinks that having heard and believed Mrs. Sloane's description of him, it doesn't jive with refusing cough medicine to a guy in need. In fact, why did he not try to upgrade him to morphine and indeed cocaine?
That's what they lure you in with the cough medicine and then get you on the hard stuff.
I should say before we get all the YouTube comments, we don't need to be told that it was different times and cocaine was used for dental purposes. Right. Let's move on. Outside, Lucille wants to know whether she can visit Ron. This is like Shatner's wife in the previous episode. Is it okay to visit? Yes.
Why are you not there straight away?
Why were you not waiting? Yeah.
You're having a barbecue.
Tony says, not only is it okay, as soon as we've finished this meal, I will take you there. And Lucille's like, yep, that's fine, yes, because I am enjoying these ribs. I don't want to go and see my son just yet.
Also, we find out that Pete apparently has a friend who owes him a favour.
He always has a friend, doesn't he? Or a step aunt or...
Yep, who will be able to fix their truck for them.
Well, that's convenient.
So, they arrive at the sheriff department and are met by the Ponce.
He seems to work 24 hours.
Yeah, well, he's a busy man.
Yeah.
Who directs Lucille to her son. But
this was brilliant. It's a really low security system. It's like, just go through there and say that I sent you and you can get in to see any prisoner you want.
To be fair, I think in a really small town like that, it's,
Think it's still like that?
I think in a lot of places, in rural places, it will be like that, yeah. Okay. You know, it's a local drunks in one cell and some guy who's always getting in trouble, a flasher who's known...
Tony doesn't go with Lucille because Ponce has something to talk to him about.
Yeah, well, okay,
but before Lucille, yes.
Yeah, she pulls her shoulders back, raises her head up. She's a proud woman.
She has a mother's instinct and knows that her son is not guilty, and Ponce is essentially a terrible person for believing otherwise.
So when she has left, Ponce tells Tony that he believes the prosecution case has just got much stronger.
Yeah, they've got an eyewitness who saw him stabbing the guy with the scissors.
Which we see through flashback.
Yes.
Or
he didn't see him stab him with the scissors, technically, but he almost saw him stab him with the scissors.
Yeah, so there's a mechanic across the street. He saw Ron break into the store. He went to call the cops when this happened and then returned to see him sprinting out.
But as part of this recollection, we see Ponce narrate the actual murder by Ron.
Utter conjecture.
Well, it works for Tony.
Ponce imagines a fight where Ron grabs the scissors and stabs Sloane with an evil look in his face.
Yes. And then he tells Tony that they've got him nailed solid on the basis of this story, which Tony isn't ready to subscribe to.
No.
Lucille, meanwhile, is chatting with her son, who is scared he's going to be hanged.
Yeah, they have a bit of awkward small talk.
Yeah.
How are you? Yeah, what's the weather like? Food? Decent? Yeah.
Yeah. And then she says, you shouldn't worry about being hanged. Your brothers are dead.
So, a question, I'm assuming it is, was that the punishment for murder in Arizona back in the early 70s?
Well, he might not know what the Arizona punishment is if they travel a lot. Some states certainly would have hanged him.
That's a point, yeah.
And he might just assume that that's the law here. So whether it is or not, maybe doesn't matter.
Well, it matters to me. I want to find out.
It's not an error in the episode.
No. Yeah. But I'm saying if anyone can tell me, confirm, anyone from Arizona.
Was anyone listening hanged in the 70s in Arizona? Can tell us.
But I want someone from Arizona. Because I could go myself and look up Wikipedia or whatever, right? But I don't want to do that. I want an Arizonian. Is that a thing?
Is that what they're called? Arizonian?
To tell me.
Yeah. Anyway, the fact that Tony believes Ron is not enough, and so Lucille explains, as I said, life is not fair, your brothers are dead, and all you have to worry about is being hanged.
Yeah. They
also, they're living the life that God has set for them because he is sick in the head.
Yeah. He says the Lord will take care of them. Well, he hasn't up until now. You've got an absolutely miserable existence.
Was he looking after your brothers, Ron? Was he looking after them?
Get no promise. There's nothing in the future. She keeps talking about this. Oh, I'm sure that, that's one of the things I'm certain, that the next day there'll be something to look forward to. What a horrible life you guys have.
Yeah, but that's what God wants, so they should be pleased about it.
Well, he lays on quite thick in this scene. He talks about how they've always been considered, trash, and no one's ever going to believe them.
Yeah, that's because that's what God has told the other people to do.
Yeah, and also the fact that I went and saw you run into a store, stab someone, and run back out.
Yeah. Because God told him to watch the door.
That's it. Back in the office,
Maggie is trying to source some parts for the Fields truck.
Tony comes in and gets a root to beer.
Yeah, as you do.
Before Pete appears with...
Well, it's the same as last week where he says, "Where's Pete?" I was expecting Pete, and then Pete comes in the door.
Yeah.
As if that's his cue.
He's got an update.
Yes, he's got the full skinny on the urban renewal that meant there was an offer in place for all the stores in that block so that it can be changed into housing.
Everyone was up for selling apart from Sloan, who was holding up the deal, and everyone else was obviously a little bit mad because they're losing out.
Tony notes that if you've watched any television or film, you would know that is a motive for very many people. Maybe is that the Goonies? Is that the plot of the Goonies as well?
Sort of, yeah.
Also that guy that wouldn't sell his house to Donald Trump to build his golf course in Aberdeen.
Yeah, good on him.
Well, anyway, that's motive for lots of people, but Pete has more information.
Yes, he has ID'd a regular prescription customer.
We're not going to get his name though.
No.
It's a secret.
Yes, who he's trying to trace. Tell me who it is.
Yeah, exactly. Who's the guy, Pete? Tony's not even interested in who this guy is.
Was he local?
No, but for twice a week for the last 6 months, he's been on Sloan's cocaine ledger or morphine ledger. Is it one ledger? Is it two ledgers?
It's just drugs.
Yeah, I think Pete is working to trace this man and find out more about him, whilst Tony is off to speak to the neighbours.
Yes. He firstly talks to a young Luke Skywalker named David Mitchell, who is working outside his father's...
The historian David Mitchell?
I think so.
Not the comedian?
No. His father's second-hand... It looks like a second-hand clothes store, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Maybe they're new in those days. It's just they look like kind of now. He is asked why anyone would want to kill Sloan, and he says he doesn't understand it because Sloan is the nicest man he ever met. So Tony asks for his help.
Yeah, he's surprised because Tony tells him that he thinks Ron is innocent.
Yeah, he doesn't believe it. Or maybe he does believe it.
Where does Tony head next and why?
Well, David's told him that his father, who is the business owner, obviously, who's the relevant person, is at the barber's nearby.
Yes, so he heads along to see if they will be more forthcoming.
You Mr. Martin?
Yeah, that's right.
Mr. Mitchell?
Cyrus, will you sit still?
I'm Anthony Petrocelli, Ron Field's attorney.
The boy that killed Andrew?
Well, no, there's no proof of that.
Well, they arrested him.
Well, he's not been convicted yet.
What do you want from us?
Well, anything that might help him.
We don't know anything.
Well, at the time of the killing, did you guys see or hear anything?
We heard, but we didn't see much.
We were right here having a cup of coffee. I heard all the noise and ran outside, and there was a kid running. And Andrew was dead.
Well, Mr. Sloan was a friend of yours, I suppose. Did you like him?
Like him? I suppose so. I didn't understand him. I suppose I liked him all right.
He was a stupid man.
Because he wouldn't sell to the developer?
Yes, that's right. He was a stubborn old fool, and not only that, he was stopping the rest of us.
Well, he's not anymore.
Well, it's not a nice thing to say, but that boy did us a favor. Now his wife owns the store, and she'll sell out with the rest of us.
And just in time, too.
Yeah, another week, and they withdraw the offer, and then we're stuck here, and we'll never get out.
That might sound to some people like a good motive for wanting him dead.
Good. It was the answer to a prayer.
Jens? I'm sure Mr. Sloan would be glad to see how well you guys have been bearing up. And maybe between tears, if you have enough money left, you'll buy some flowers for his grave.
So once again, Tony disgusted at the response of locals to the death of their pharmacist.
But in fairness, that was they weren't holding back there, were they?
They genuinely disliked this guy.
No, they didn't. They just thought he was being stubborn, and they like money more than him.
And they're happy he's dead.
Yes, for the money.
Yes.
Oh,
in the car.
Well, no, before that, when Tony storms out, Mitchell chastises Martin the barber for his big mouth.
Well, fair enough. In the car, Maggie is worrying about Ron's father, who still has a cough.
And wonders how they can help the family without hurting their pride.
Well, Tony says they can't, so that's it. But on the plus side, he feels he's close to solving the case, and the apple is going to fall, as Charlie XCX.
That's his Columbo marble, isn't it? He's always... does he say this every episode then, I wonder? Because he mentioned it last week as well.
About the apple?
Yeah. That's his thing.
I think he's mixing his metaphors, though, because surely the apple is... The metaphor about the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Yeah.
As in... Nothing to do with an idea. Anyway, never mind. Pete is asleep in Tony's chair when they get to the office, but when he's roused...
By using what, a gavel, was it?
Something like that.
Yeah.
He has the name we were asking for in the previous scene.
Yes, before we can get to that, they think it's perfectly acceptable. He's drunk.
Yes. It's the 70s.
You're on the clock here, Pete.
Nah, he just charges on a case-by-case basis. I don't think he's an employee.
Still, I don't know. Why are you drunk this time of the day?
That's just Pete being Pete.
He's an alcoholic.
Well,
every time he walks in, no matter what time of day, is in the fridge for a beer.
Well, that's probably there.
Semi-functioning alcoholic, I would say.
Well, he got the name.
Name of what? Who?
The guy on the ledger.
What ledger?
The cocaine and morphine ledger.
Oh, him, yeah.
Harry Elder. However, there is a twist.
What's that?
He died 6 months ago. So, in the 6 months since he died, twice a week he has been obtaining, I assume, morphine, from what we hear later.
And at this point, Tony thinks he has caught the apple. I think he's got a long way to go, because he still have to, tie... This doesn't... It's not a closed case now.
Well, it's for Tony.
But obviously, yeah.
And that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Later, in the office, Tony asks...
I think it's the next day.
Is it the next day?
Because I think they're suited up, are they not?
Okay. So, I think, this is before he heads to court.
Yes. 2 days.
Because he needs Pete to make a dramatic entrance in the courtroom. So he sends him off to get a list of local drug addicts, which are obviously kept in a register somewhere.
Must be, yeah.
Okay.
The junkie register, yes.
Yeah.
Every town has one, or did have back then.
Of course. In the court, we hear from the eyewitness, who we were told about by Ponce.
Yeah, he tells the same story on the stand to the prosecutor. He then hands over to Tony, who does his My Cousin Vinny of the week, and questions whether he can be sure that the person he saw coming out was actually the same that went in. Now, I'm going to ask you again, you've not seen My Cousin, but this is very similar, or My Cousin Vinny is very similar to this.
Tony's style seems to be to get one admission out of every witness and then close it down.
Yeah, just smirking.
Yes. So the jury will know I've made my point, and I'm going to prove my case.
Even though he has already answered this, Tony has no more questions and sits down as if he's won the point.
Exactly. And then when Ponce gives his evidence, Tony in cross vaguely asks him, is it possible that somebody else might have touched these scissors? And when he says yes, Tony's like, get it. Right.
Yes, this doesn't make any sense. So
Ponce, the Chewbacca defence.
Ponce only states some facts. Okay?
Yeah.
Which
Tony's
not,
got him. He's got him.
Which are not disputed.
Nope.
And this whole thing about the prints, he says, okay, so Ron's prints were definitely on the murder weapon, but there were smudges that could have been other people's. Yes, they were in a shop. I'm assuming there would be people fondle and touch products, they pick it up, they look after, they put it back down. So yeah, there will be. But the point is, Ron's prints were on and he ran out the shop with blood in his hands.
Yes.
Someone else's print does nothing for this.
To be fair to Tony's defence, the prosecution at this point rests and hasn't really established very much of their case.
No.
So, well, yeah, he touched the scissors and I saw him going in and coming out.
Well,
guilty.
Just before Tony starts his defence, Pete arrives with
late-breaking evidence.
Information on one of the people on the list.
Indeed, and Tony, having read this, immediately calls Cyrus Mitchell to the stand. And quite conveniently, he's in the court.
Yeah, that's what I've asked here. What if he'd not been there? This wasn't a agreed witness, a previously agreed witness, no?
It's on the spur of the moment. He is surprised, much like Carter in the previous episode we watched.
I suppose if I was being generous, you would simply say that they would have to reconvene.
Yeah, you have to go and get him.
Yeah, anyway. He confirms that he worked next to Sloane's for 20 years and knows of no real reason why someone would want him dead.
No.
Who would say that? I don't know. Not a real reason.
Not a strong reason. I mean, obviously, I wanted him dead.
There were some people who you might think, would be happy.
He was holding up the sale of our properties, and he was better. And that's now been resolved by his death. But apart from that,
at this point, Tony plays his ace and asks him about a clinic in Arizona, at which Cyrus bows his head. So tell me about this.
Yeah, this is a rehabilitation clinic where Cyrus has to admit his son was an inmate. Is that the right word? A resident?
Patient.
A patient. Until 7 months earlier when he returned to San Remo. Something that you were upset about last week.
Yes. So, for the first time, yes, the prosecutor objects on the grounds of relevancy, but is overruled and then just meekly sits down. But
The prosecutor, I should say, is dressed as Mr. 1970s
yeah,
with his long hair and his moustache and his brown suit.
of course.
Anyway, David is the next witness because Tony has extracted everything he can from Cyrus and the prosecutor has no cross.
So, do you have any questions? Nah.
I don't know what he's talking about. Move on.
This is getting boring, isn't it? Let's get to the good stuff.
In his evidence, David says he is clean and had no reason to be anywhere near a pharmacy.
He doesn't say clean, he says he's been cured.
Yes.
Like a piece of meat.
Well, that's one way of looking at it. However, Tony has a trump card to play yet again.
Yes, he crumples when asked to lift up his sleeves and show his arms.
What is it that Tony thinks is going to be on his arms?
Track marks, needle marks. You not seen Trainspotting?
Yeah, if you're taking heroin,
Yeah, like morphine.
if he's injecting the morphine.
Injecting the coke, he's injecting the marijuana into his veins, into the and the weed. He's a big weed injector.
How does Tony know he's injecting it into his arms?
Well, where do you go to inject it?
I'm not a medical expert, but I
think that's the first place you go. I'm not.
You could put it in your legs.
You could do, but I don't think you go there straight away. That's after you damage the veins, isn't it? Then you get into the legs. Then you end up in the old...
I don't know.
Anyway, David refuses to show him his arms. So again, Tony asks him if Sloane supplied him with the drugs. And this time, he gets a different response.
Did he sell them to you?
No, he gave them to me.
Why?
One night, a couple of weeks after I got back, I knew I needed something. I didn't know what to do. So I broke into Mr. Sloane's store, tried to get some stuff. He caught me.
But he didn't turn you in.
No, sir, he was too good a man for that. He said he was afraid I might do something bad if I didn't have them. So he agreed to let me have enough to try and taper off with.
So he supplied you with drugs for 6 months by signing for them with a dead man's name. Then he stopped, didn't he?
He said he could see that he wasn't helping me, just hurting me more. And then I'd have to go back for more treatment.
Your Honor, let me take you back to Kent Street, time of the killing. Picture David Mitchell, an addict in need of drugs. Source cut off. Not knowing what to do and his habit getting worse, he decides to try and break into Sloane's pharmacy. He was seen from across the street by Paul Glass, Lieutenant Ponce's eyewitness, whose testimony you've just heard. Now, Glass watched him in front of the store, and when Mitchell forced the door, Glass went inside to phone police and report a break-in.
So I can understand why David thinks Sloane is a good man.
Of course, because he's getting free drugs. You can imagine that. You're a drug addict and some guy, local chemist, is going, you've got an unlimited supply for nothing.
What opioid crisis?
Sloane is an absolute menace. If he was alive, he would be jailed.
And he knows he's doing something illegal because he's putting it through in somebody else's name.
Yes. It's an absolute menace. This guy, I don't know, he's ruining everyone else's life by refusing to sell. Now, it's an absolute dump of a town. Get the money and go somewhere else. If you want to set up a shop, you can, but you're ruining everyone else. They want you. It's community spirit here. Don't be so selfish.
Set up a new pharmacy with the money, yeah. The reason is probably that
a known drug addict who's come out of a rehab clinic and here's something to take the edge off it, wee man. It's appalling.
It's not his position to decide that. Even as a pharmacist, he should not be saying, oh yeah, I'm going to give you these highly dangerous drugs on an unrestricted basis. He's
got off lightly. He would spend a long time in jail if he hadn't been murdered.
Yeah. But Tony's narration of events takes an even more bizarre turn.
This is incredible, isn't it? This is awful, actually.
It's not grounded in any kind of evidence or
not
understanding of the situation. It's just based on the fact that Mrs. Sloane said Sloane was nice and he quite likes David.
And in this retelling, David is using the scissors to try and open the drugs cabinet when he's surprised by Sloane. And when Sloane grabs him, he accidentally stabs him as Sloane walks forward.
Well, this requires Sloane to aggressively grab David.
Yeah.
Which is not in keeping with what Tony's heard about
nice old
Sloane.
man, the caring old man. Yeah.
And it's very unlikely to be what actually happened.
No. See, this whole scenario, I think it was more likely that Sloane is trying to entice the youths with dodgy and dubious intentions, get them hooked and then use them as
pawns.
Well, for physical pleasures of some sort.
Well, that's as big a leap as Tony has made, but not more of a leap.
More likely. People will say that now. I can use you. You'll be doing this at X, Y, and Z. You want more drugs? Okay.
Yeah. There's no basis for Tony to say this was an accident. Yeah. It's literally been pulled out of thin air without any evidential support,
and it's not his job. He doesn't have to come up with this hypothesis here.
It's also irrelevant. Yeah. So if you've established that David could have been responsible, that's it, because that gets run off.
Yeah.
In theory.
And
especially as David's confessing. Anyway, he confirms it was 100% an accident. I hadn't thought about that until right now, Tony, but you're right. It was an accident.
Oh, yeah, that was that. He thought he was having to admit to the murder now. It's like, it was. That's what happened.
However, I remain cured.
Yes. So, what we see is that David hides when Ron enters, and the eyewitness was on the phone, so never saw the swap.
Come on.
Yeah. After he's finished with his theory, he asks David, as you say, to confirm it, but gives him fair warning that it can be used against him. What is he doing here?
He's not Mirandizing the guy. He's not a cop.
Don't be giving this guy your advice. He's thinking down the line, that's another defence case for me.
We'll get him off. David says he never meant to hurt his friend. He just needed the drugs. So that's cool, right?
Just be quiet. Say nothing. Say, nope, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Nope.
They're going to put this guy in jail for it. It's fine.
Yeah, and even if what you've done as a defence attorney is introduce doubt, that's fine. That might be enough to get your client off, but the other person doesn't have to start admitting stuff and saying things.
I do enjoy the part of the story where, and I'm not sure we actually saw this at the start, but apparently David comes out of the pharmacy and joins the mob chasing Ron down the street.
We weren't looking for that, but yes, that's what happened.
Apparently.
So, yes. He said he never meant to hurt Sloane, who was the nicest man he ever met. Just shut up.
Well, it seems to be sufficient.
Surely at this point, the judge would step in and say, we're not trying you here. I advise you right now to not say anything.
Until you've spoke to a lawyer.
Spoke to a lawyer, because again, down the line, this could be mistrials, etc.
Yeah.
Anyway, he breaks down in tears as he claims that Sloane was his friend, but he couldn't live without drugs.
Yeah, that's fine. That's cool then, right?
And at this confession, Ron, with his very weird hair, turns to look at his very relieved mother.
Yes, and says, at least I'm not a druggie.
Yep.
We couldn't afford it.
Yes, I'm too poor to be a drug addict.
Yeah. So we return to the garage where the Fields seem to be leaving.
Yes. Tony and Maggie arrive with some of the younger kids who they've went to get ice cream with. Yeah,
these younger kids get a far more prominent role in this final scene than their earlier exploits have justified.
Wizard of Oz stuff where they each get their little send-off, and I'll miss you the most, Tin Man and Scarecrow.
At least in the Wizard of Oz, they all were part of the story. Yeah. These guys appeared in one scene earlier, didn't say anything, and are now getting this big send-off at the end of the episode. It makes no sense. Anyway, Tony fills everybody in on what happened at court.
Yeah, and the generous, I would say, Lucille asks about David.
Oh yeah, she feels really bad for this guy who definitely accidentally killed the guy that her son was being accused of murdering.
And this bit, come on, Tony tells her that as it was unintentional, not established.
No facts for that.
He will get rehabilitation, not jail. Absolute garbage. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to beep that. That's fucking nonsense.
Yeah.
Absolute fucking nonsense.
He's a junkie who killed a guy trying to get drugs. Even if he didn't intend to kill him, he's still responsible.
Yeah, if you break into a place to try and steal drugs and during that someone dies...
This is woke nonsense.
You're going to jail. We
need to treat him, not punish him. That's not how the justice system looks on drug crime.
He was doing an illegal activity.
Whether you agree with that or not, it's not how the justice system looks on drug crime.
An illegal activity caused someone to die. Yeah. You're getting punished for that.
You broke in.
Yes.
You stabbed a guy.
Yeah.
to get his drugs. It's like, oh, well, you know, he was just after the drugs. Well, that's not a defence to that crime.
No.
He walked into my scissors.
Ron thanks him, and Lucille tells him that she will be paying up for it.
He hasn't told her that.
Oh, has she not?
Well, he's just kind of hinted that he might be billing her later on.
Yeah, Mouse doesn't know what legal aid is, because that was definitely mentioned to her.
I think he was saving it for now so he could say, oh, you don't have to pay.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They're just something a little bit uncomfortable at how they are enjoying the fact that they can playing God over their lives.
Yeah, it's like, it's okay, you poor people. I know you're poor, so because you're poor, you don't have to pay me money, which I have some of, and you do not.
So I think he sort of mentions how legal aid works. Tony then wonders where Pete is.
He's under the truck.
Yeah, he emerges covered in oil.
So it turns out Pete's friend was Pete.
Yes, I think at the end Maggie says, "Oh, you're a big softie." So when he said this, he didn't have a friend. He felt like,
but he didn't want to admit it because he's too manly to say he was going to help poor people.
No, I'll just do it. So Maggie has sandwiches and candy, and is told that she's a special lady with a special man.
She then pats them all on the head.
Yes, and they drive off very illegally with the kids in the back of that.
Well, that's probably legal back then.
Trailer,
Although I have written Death Trap.
Yes, it's a piece of shit, that thing.
It's going to break down. They're going to get flung off the back and get hit by an Arctic that's coming up behind them.
Yes. Quick read a story in the newspaper next week about the 4 kids that were,
Maggie, who is an absolute sucker for people doing charitable things, gives Pete a big kiss, and the episode ends. Mm-hmm. No harm, no foul, just a junkie accidentally killing a dude after breaking into his store to rob him of his opioids. Nothing to see. Move along, please.
There we go. Yeah, I liked it. It was funny. It's still, yeah. I mean, it would be interesting to see this.
I don't think even in the 70s, though, we've seen Columbo episodes set in the same time. This isn't how this crime would be dealt with.
No, quite in Arizona. I mean, I'm not really been, but I'm assuming from what I can gather, it's not the most liberal of places.
It is Wild West territory, but come on.
Yeah, you're
it's just opioids. The kid, he just wanted his heroin, his whatever it was. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah. Boys will be boys.
You see, I enjoyed these 2 episodes, but I'm wondering, it's so formulaic. It's not... Okay, that's wrong. Formula is fine, because Columbo was extremely formulaic.
Yeah.
But the case, it just seems so similar.
It's quite superficial as well. It's the same beats. In the 2 episodes we've seen, they hit all the same beats. You know, Tony loves the law is beautiful. Maggie loves the law and loves Tony because Tony loves the law.
Yeah.
And they help people. And there's an injustice and they will not allow that to stand.
Yeah, but the resolution is just don't feel... You can put up with it for a few episodes, but I'm not sure if it would start to grate. It's like, wait a second, he's proven nothing here.
Episode 45 of Tony saying, come on.
Yeah,
he's clearly innocent. His mum says he's innocent.
And this could have happened. So,
here's another thing that might... There's no evidence for this, but what I think might have happened is somebody else done it. Oh, okay, then Tony, we'll let him go.
And saying that, I'm more than happy to do another couple of episodes, in future seasons.
If there's demand, we'll see what the feedback's like. No, it was good though. It flies by. The time that they're not short episodes, but they fly by. They're fun and
it's fluffy.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. And I would actually be quite happy to look at it again if it was.
Yeah, I mean, it's the type of thing I might actually watch a few in the background, when I'm pottering about.
Predict what Tony's story is going to be.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to some production information, some trivia.
I've got one bit of trivia. I'll save it for you.
Do you want to go first?
If you want.
Go for it.
It's just location information like usual. So the street where the pharmacy was in Tucson, Arizona, West Congress Street specifically, and that building is now a sewing studio called Connecting Threads.
There you go. The episode was first broadcast on the 26th of February 1975 and was directed by Irving J. Moore, who we discussed last week.
We know all about him.
2 writers again this week. The first, Leonard Katzman, died in 1996, aged 69. He was a writer and producer. He wrote 16 and produced 42 episodes of Petrocelli. Also involved in Walker, Texas Ranger, Dallas, Gunsmoke, The Wild Wild West, Hawaii Five-0 and Route 66. He's a nephew of producer Sam Katzman and a grandfather of YouTuber Ethan Klein. He was twice Emmy nominated for Dallas. His writing partner was Thomas L. Miller, who died in 2020, aged 79. He was also a writer and producer. He produced 44 and wrote 3 episodes of Petrocelli. In fact, he was very prolific and very high profile.
Quite young then, when Petrocelli was going.
Yeah, must have been
early 30s.
Yeah. His work includes Full House, Fuller House, Family Matters, Step by Step, Perfect Strangers. I mean, we're talking hundreds of episodes of these shows here. Right. Getting By, Bosom Buddies, Angie, Silver Streak, that's a good Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder movie. Happy Days and Laverne and Shirley. And we're talking, again, heavily involved in these shows, not just a one.
Obviously well respected in the industry.
Yes. He was Emmy nominated himself for Fuller House. And he started his career as an assistant director to the legendary Billy Wilder. On to the cast. I think for a lot of people, Ron will be a well-known face. He was played by Mitch Vogel, born in 1956, and is most famous for his role in Bonanza. But he's also been in Gunsmoke, Police Surgeon, Ironside, and Wonder Woman. I think his career sort of tapered off in the 70s and 80s, and that more of a sort of young adult child star. Okay. Lucille Field was played by Lucille Benson. She died in 1984, aged 69. This is her second of 4 Petrocellis. She's also been in Silver Streak, Halloween 2, 1941, Simon and Simon, Bosom Buddies, The Ropers, Nashville 99, Mannix, and I know her from Jewel. Very small role. She was a snake lady. There's a garage, and she, for some reason, a petrol station, gas station, and she was showing off. She had a glass case of, I think it was snakes and different, these type of exotic pets, and they get knocked over by the truck. Anyway.
Oh dear.
I also recognise David Huddleston, who played Ponce. He died in 2016, aged 85. The 6th of his 9 Petrocellis.
Oh, it's the same character?
Yes. You might have seen him in The Big Lebowski, Blazing Saddles, Capricorn 1, The Wonder Years, I think he played the grandpa, The West Wing, Star Trek Next Generation, Murder, She Wrote, Rockford Files, Barnaby Jones, or Charlie's Angels, amongst almost 200 other
We've definitely
credits.
seen something else, yeah.
Yes. Oh, in fact, Gunsmoke, Ironside, Bonanza and Cannon. We're not going to talk about David Mitchell, who was played by Mark Hamill, the old Luke Skywalker, I think.
People know who
he is, yeah. People also know who Mary Sloan was played by, but we'll chat about her briefly. She was played by Marion Ross, born in 1928, still with us. Her first of 2 Petrocellis. Of course, most famous for playing Mrs. Cunningham in Happy Days. Also, she's appeared in Brooklyn Bridge, Paradise Bay, Gilmore Girls, The Drew Carey Show, SpongeBob, That 70s Show, The Love Boat, Streets of San Francisco, Mannix, Ironside, Hawaii Five-0. Again, also very many other shows.
Prolific.
I read her autobiography a couple of years ago. Interesting. I think she had a tougher background than
Ron Field.
And what her sort of wholesome family persona generally is. She played Marion Cunningham in 4 different shows. Love American Style, Happy Days, Joni Loves Chachi and Family Guy. She is 5-time Primetime Emmy nominated. Sloan, the victim, second of 2 Petrocellis. He only had 2 other roles, Telling Secrets and The Life and Times of Grizzly Adams.
Was he the same character in the 2 Petrocellis?
No.
Okay. I think Lucille was in 4 Petrocellis as different characters.
Did I not mention that, no?
I don't think so.
Oh,
maybe I missed it.
No, I don't think I did. Yeah, she was. And finally, we have William Bramley, who played Cyrus Mitchell. He died in 1985, aged 57, and has been in West Side Story, Star Trek, the original series, Dukes of Hazzard, Barnaby Jones, Ironside, The Streets of San Francisco, Adam 12, Gunsmoke, The FBI, Macmillan and Wife, McLeod, Cannon, Bonanza, Lassie, The Virginian, and Lost in Space, to name a few. Again,
familiar face.
Character actor of the time, yeah. Okay, a couple of bits of trivia before we wrap up, yeah?
Yeah, you were going to tell us about one of the spots.
Yeah, Navajo Indian trading posts were established on the Navajo Reservation in Arizona, New Mexico and Utah from 1868 until the 70s, and they were a hub for commerce and culture and the social life for the Navajo people, typically owned by non-Navajovians, however. But yeah, so I think that was a chain of stores serving that particular community. And the only other thing I've got is, you might have noticed, I'm sure, Barry Newman's scar he's got around his eye. I think he, in the past, had told some stories about his tough Boston upbringing, where he was always jiving on the streets. But But no, he fell over a toy and fell onto another toy when he was 5.
That's a lifelong affliction.
Yep. Take someone's eye out with that. Your parents used to say.
That's the point you could be making to his own children.
Yeah.
Next time. Well, there's no next time.
Well, there will be. Season 2, I think we're going to open. We've not got the exact episode, but what we're going to open with.
I thought maybe Heart to Heart.
That's a good choice. I do like a bit of Heart
Do a couple of those, maybe a couple of Midsummers, what we're interested in that.
We'll see, yeah. But certainly, Heart to Heart's in the next one.
If you've particularly enjoyed anything up to this point, let us know. If there's anything you would really like us to look at, let us know. And then otherwise, just generally let us know.
Okay, until then,
cheerio.
Bye-bye.